scroll may have to wait. You may have to wait until the graduation day. Or in the current situation where you have pandemic, you may not have your convocation. They may give you earlier on for the scroll. Or I don't know what's the arrangement like. Some universities give immediately after the Senate approve their transcript. You need to submit the scroll. Scroll is very important because in private university, some universities, if not in the current situation, they have one, same like us. When I say us, I'm referring to University of Malaya. Oh, by the way, I'm going to join another university a matter of time soon, later bulan 10 paling awal. Okay, in a private university, what happened is they have the intake like not twice intake per year. They have like 3 times per year. So they have an intake 3 times per year, means the graduates can actually graduated earlier from compared to the convocation day, which means if they had a convocation in November, if their intake is in January, the tendency is the candidate may completed her or his study in December, meaning he has already missed the convocation date and he has to wait next November. Do you get me? Boleh faham? Do you get me? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Okay, so if the convocation is held in November and the student graduate in December, the student has to wait until next November for the graduation, for the convocation for the scroll, which means he or she is going to lose 1 year, right? But their submission to the board, the requirement is you must have the scroll. So meaning, if the university did not release the scroll, the candidate just have to miss that 1 year. So same like UM, we now have 3.5 years. So if you graduate we used to have 3.5 years, your batch is 3 years, right? If we graduate if the students completed their study in January, they have to wait until convocation in October. Then only they can submit. So the period of 2 years actually run from October when they submit their application to the board. Once they have the scroll, bear in mind the board only have a meeting for the approval once a month. For the committee, once a month. If you submit after the committee has already completed the meeting in October, then you have to wait in November. So by the time the committee approved in November, there is a full board meeting once in every 2 months. I think now the presidents have it every month. But if the committee approved in November, you have to wait for the full board to approve in December. So technically, you need to allow 2 months for your application to be approved, which means your PV will only begins like in December after you have obtained your scroll in October. Boleh nampak tu the seriousness dia? The seriousness that you really need to submit immediately because you may miss the committee meetings. The committee, you need to have the committee's approval. First, it's a TPC committee to approve or is it ERC to approve first, then only they will go to the full board. Once you go to the full board, then only you will receive a letter from the registrar that your application for PV is approved and it runs from the date of the full board meeting, not from the date of your application. Boleh faham? Okay, and don't forget when you submit your scroll, when you submit your application, you need to submit in form as required in the Act, as well as the apa lagi satu yang kena bayar? Puan, are you here Puan? Sudah bangun? Puan, Wei Chi, Kayun. Hello. Kayun.
Registration fee?
Registration fee, yes. The registration fee is a must because there are cases where the candidate they submit in the form, they forgot about the fee. The fee is as prescribed in the Act. We have gone through yang itu in the previous lectures. Okay, come back to this one. So you have all the requirements to submit as a PV. And once it has been approved, you have to have your experience. You have to be supervised 2 continuous years. 2 continuous years. If you go for the 2 continuous years. If not, then you have to wait for 10 years. Boleh juga for 10 years. Okay, 2 continuous years. Take notes on that. If you have a break, there may be chances that you will not be allowed to consider the first day you start your supervision under that registered valuer. You have to start all over again. And you cannot have a break in between because it mentioned clearly in the Act is 2 continuous years, right? So your working experience is in a registered valuation firm or any other establishment and carry on valuation practice as approved by the board. Which means you can work with a straightforward with the registration with the registered valuation firm, or you can work with any other establishment. You can engage an external supervisor. What we mean by external supervisor is you have some registered valuer who is willing to supervise you for the valuation part, which means he will allow you to do the valuation in his firm. At the same time, you can still continue to work. For example, if you work in just a property management firm who don't have any registered valuer, you can still become an RV. You can still become a PV, right? And if you work in an estate agency firm, okay, these are the cases where we have many students or many candidates who have degree and feel that they don't want to be a registered valuer yet. Dia lupa, dia ada degree dia nanti. What they want is to be a registered estate agent because agak-agaknya estate agent ni kenapa? Mana Chua? You here Chua, Tian Wan? Chua, are you here today? Ada Chua? Chua, hello. Tak ada. Cisam, are you here? Aku nak panggil. Cisam. Ni main on saja lepas tu hilang Okay. Lavinia.
Yes.
Okay. Agak-agaknya lah because I don't think you practice as a registered as a REN
No.
Do you?
No.
Okay. Agak-agaknya lah why some of the candidates who have degree in real estate do not wish to pursue their career as a registered valuer, but instead they would like to concentrate to be a registered estate agent. Agak-agaknya lah. Why?
Maybe they are not interested in valuation and like property management.
Why they are not interested?
I think some people generally are maybe personality-wise more suited to the agency side of things.
Okay, they are more interested to agency. Shuzan, Shuzan. Thank you, Lavinia. Shuzan?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, agak-agaknya lah. Why they don't want to be registered valuer? Why they only want to be a registered estate agent during the younger days lah?
I think maybe estate agent can earn more.
Earn more, yes, correct. Estate agent can earn more money. If you work hard, if you have contact, if you are good at convincing people, Aswin boleh jadi estate agent, good estate agent of the year nanti. MIEA bagi award, estate agent of the year, you can get 50,000 award, 30,000 award. So with that estate agency practice, you can actually earn more money. So that's the reason why some of the candidates who have a degree in real estate do not wish to pursue with a valuation firm because they can go straight to the PEA, registered as a PEA. We will go to a PEA by next week. Okay, for today, we're going to concentrate on just a PV, PV dulu, and then become a registered valuer. So it's not a problem for you to be to register just a PEA without having a PV, right? Because if you register as PV, there is a requirement there you must carry on valuation practice, right? So unlike if you register as PEA, your focus of the work is more on estate agency professional experience. Right, what we are going to go through now, let's say you want, even though you work as an estate agent, you work as a PEA, not REN. REN is a real estate negotiators are those without qualification, right? Rant is like, siapa yang you tak suka marah? Rather than pembantu. But anyway, they are an assistant to the registered estate agent. So what happened is, if you work as a not rent, once you graduate, you are now eligible to work as PEA. PEA is class atas sikit because PEA, the entry road is to diploma holder. So if you work as an estate agent, but you wish to become a registered valuer at the same time because you have your degree, it's not a problem. You can do that, but you engage an external supervisor, which means you go and get registered valuer with a registered valuation firm, and they are willing to become your supervisor. And he will sign on the form that he will be your supervisor, and he will allow you to do some valuation cases from his firm so that you have that valuation practice. Because in the areas of work experience, you don't really need to have 100% valuation. If you have 100% valuation also, kita tak bagi. Kita ada 3 area that you need to concentrate. Kita akan go through after this. Right? So you can work in an estate agency firm, or you can work with a developer firm. You can also work in the property management firm or in any other establishment. We do have candidates working with previously Tesco ataupun now known as Lotus. And he's doing more on the retail part. He's doing more on the admin part, but he's more on the admin on the property side of the Tesco. So she got an external registered valuer to be her supervisor, and she is now a registered valuer already, but she left Tesco already. Okay, so there are the requirement for you to be a PB. You must have 2 continuous years. If you don't have that 2 continuous years, don't worry. You can wait for 10 years. You don't have to go for 2 continuous years, unless you really target your time to be 2 years, then 2 continuous years. If not, it has to be 10 years. But it has to, you can have a break, but you have to be 10 years, and the break in between cannot be more than 1 year or 6 months, something like that. Right? So boleh faham yang ni? Ada soalan?
I got one question regarding the supervisor. If I work as a property manager and then I work in the property manager firm, I need to get an external supervisor. Does it mean that I got 2 supervisors or just by 1 external supervisor?
By 1 supervisor is enough, because when you fill in the logbook, that supervisor who is a registered valuer, because as a registered valuer, he is able to cover all the 3 areas. He can cover you on estate agency. So any work experience that you work in, for example, if you work in estate agency firm, he should be able to confirm that you have that experience, even though it's not under his portfolio as far as the company is concerned. But there are cases where candidates also have the experience, they have he has more than 1 supervisor, which means the work done in an estate agency experience and the work done in property management experience is endorsed as a supervisor from the internal supervisor. Boleh, Susan?
Okay, understood.
But in general, you can have that supervisor, external supervisor, who is your registered valuer to cover all the 3 areas. Boleh?
All right.
Okay. Right. So any other question before we move? Right. So those who wish to become an academician, don't worry. Dr. Zaf is one of them. Dr. Ain'ni also an academician. So you can work as an academician and become a registered valuer too. So far, we have few registered valuer who work as an academician, but yet to have it in University of Malaya, we have few from UITM. I think we have 2. I think we have 2. Is it from UTM? And the rest are not many. Okay. So from UM, we have the registered valuer who are registered valuer before they join as an academician. So for lecturers, once you graduate, you can become a registered valuer, but you must work as a full-time at any recognized local institute. Only lecturers from the local university are allowed to go through this road, because the board do receive application from Malaysians who work as lecturers in other foreign universities, not in Malaysia but in Australia. We have one. I came across one when I was the committee member with the board. We received one application from Malaysian academician working in South Australian universities. And we have one working with UK universities. But the one working with the foreign universities operated in Malaysia is not a problem. That one is even though it's foreign universities, but it's still recognized as a local institute because their base is here in Malaysia. For example, if you work with University of Reading Malaysia, that one University of Reading Malaysia is fine. But we have also University of Hero Ward. I think they have yet to offer our program, but they do offer our program last time. And we have also University for Liverpool, John Moores, but it's attached to another universities. So far we don't have one, but we do have, last time we have the Hero Ward who is here, and they are not affiliated with any local institute, but we still recognize the application from the lecturers who wish to submit as a PV. Okay, but the requirement, if you work as a lecturer, you must have that minimum of 3 years academic experience, and you must be a full-time lecturer. When I say full-time, we have, if I can share, we have an application from a registered estate agent, because once you qualify as a registered estate agent, you can have your own firms, right? How many firms can you consider? We have gone through yang itu kan, Dr. Zada ajar you kan. How many firms can you consider if you want to practice as an estate agent? Berapa jenis firm yang you boleh ada? Hafizuddin, are you here? Panggil tak adalah. Basan, how many firms can you consider? Basan?
Yes, doctor.
How are you today?
Okay, I guess.
Okay, how many firms can you consider if you want to practice in real estate? How many types of firms can you consider?
As an estate agent?
Yes, an estate agent. Regardless, estate agent, valuation firm, or property management, you cannot operate on your own individual capacity. You must have a firm.
Yeah.
So you can consider to open how many types of firm?
To work at?
Yes, to work, to open a practice, to have your own practice, not to work, practice on your own.
I guess one firm.
One firm. What type of firm is that?
Any type.
Any type means? Vasan, in the act, there's only 3 options, 3 types of firms.
Yes, doctor. Yes, prof.
Well, I think Dr. Zaf has gone through, and I have said that many times in my class as well. Boleh ingat, we have sole proprietorship lagi.
Partnership.
Partnership lagi.
And I'm not sure.
Not sure. Kayun lagi satu.
Body corporate.
Body corporate or the company. Sendirian berhad. Right? So you can opt for sole proprietorship, you can opt for partnership or body corporate, which means if you are a registered estate agent, you may submit and may obtain the approval to practice as a sole proprietor, right? So that is before you become a lecturer, because we do have cases when a candidate who has her own practice as a sole proprietor and then become a full-time academician. Macam mana tu? Full-time academician and a full-time sole proprietor. The board do not allow that, because even if an academician, once you have joined the academician and you want to open a firm, because I think Dr. Rosli Said has a partner, is one of the partners in the firm. Dr. Anwar also, Dr. Zai also. Okay, so they can have their practice, but it cannot be on sole proprietor basis. It can be on company as an executive director. It cannot be managing director because managing director send a message that you need to be there full time. You can be an executive director, means you're not full time in your office. Because if you are full-time lecturers, even though the university allows you to practice, even though the Ministry of Education would like to have all the professionals to have their own practice, you cannot have a full-time practice on your own, sole proprietor, as far as our act is concerned. Some other professional body allow to have sole proprietor because they subscribe to the believe that with sole proprietor you can organize your time, but the board do not allow you to practice as a sole proprietor if you are a full-time lecturer. Okay, so you can still have your business, your practice as a partners or as a body corporate, which means you can become an executive director or executive selalu director lah. Right, so you must have that minimum of 3 years academic experience. 3 years, not that if you, for example, if you just once you graduate, you practice as a valuation executive or a valuation senior officer or valuation, don't know what lah they call nowadays, assistant manager. After 1.5 years or after 2 years, but you did not submit your PV. After year 2, and then only you join, and then you become a lecturer. You have that 2 years working experience, or you have 4 years working experience. You did not submit your PV, and then only you realize that you want to become a registered valuer, but you are now an academician already. By year 5, you are now an academician. Do you get what I'm trying to tell you? Boleh faham tak apa cerita dia ni? Nurul Ain'ni. Nurul Ain'ni, are you here? Ha, apa yang saya cakap tadi? Apa yang you faham yang about lecturers tadi? Yang the sole proprietor, and then apa cerita dia that I'm trying to tell you? Are you here with me? Time. Bukan full time, tak boleh sole proprietor. Yep. You cannot be a sole proprietor company. It can be a partnership, whether you're full-time tak full-time ke, suka hati you lah to arrange, but you are a full-time lecturer, because once you are a full-time lecturer, you diberi all the basic, all the fulfillment, all the perks as a full-time staff. So you cannot have, or you cannot work as a sole proprietorship. Itu maksud dia. So proprietor saja yang tak boleh. Yang lain boleh. Full time or part time you arrange sendiri. But sole proprietor will denotes a full time commitment at your office. So that's why board tak allow. Board kita tak allow, but other boards allow, ya. Some of the other boards allow sole proprietor. Okay, come back to the saya nak bawa cerita tadi. Itu yang lain tu. The first one ini. The second part is, saya cakap tadi, let's say you graduate and then you practice 4 years. You practice 4 years tapi you tak ingat, you forget to submit your PV. By the year 5, now you become a lecturer. And then baru you, I have practiced for 4 years. I'm now a lecturer. So I want to become a registered valuer. Because as a registered valuer, you may be allowed for certain universities to equate that qualification with the master degree, or some university even equate that with a PhD, which means you can become a senior lecturer, not just one of the many junior lecturer, if you have a professional qualification. So bila you dah after year 5, you become a lecturer, and not only you realize you don't have that submission for PV. Right? You can submit your PV now. You can submit your PV now, but you can have to wait for 3 years. For a lecturer, you have to wait for 3 years. For the PV who work in a private practice or who work in other practice other than the academician, you can just wait for 2 continuous years. Boleh faham? For lecturers, we need 3 years. For other practices, other appointment, 2 continuous years. Do you get me? Boleh faham? Boleh, Melissa, are you here?
Yes, doktor.
Faiz Iqbal. Boleh faham?
Boleh.
Okay, you kat mana ni Faiz Iqbal?
Dekat rumah kakak.
Kat sini, Puchong.
Puchong.
Okay. Tak nak balik Johor. Okay.
Tak boleh
So
balik.
maknanya apa Faiz Iqbal?
Maknanya apa, doktor?
Maknanya kalau lecturers how many years? Kalau
For lecturers, 3 years, but
3
for
years.
other appointment, 2 continuous years.
Yes, okay. For lecturers, 3 years, and other appointment is 2 continuous years. So, but there is another route yang 10 years, cover both. Kalau 10 years yang you don't have to submit your practical task. Nanti kita go through yang ni. But in general, for lecturers, you have to have that 3 years academic experience, and for non-lecturers, you need to have that 2 continuous years under registered valuer. Okay, so we can proceed now. So for lecturers, you need to have 3 years as an academic experience plus minimum of 1,600 hours practice on part-time basis under registered valuer during that 3 years period. 1,600 hours. Satu hari boleh bekerja berapa jam? Satu hari berapa jam boleh kerja? Kayun? Mingkai, satu hari berapa jam? Working hours. Mingkai. Tidur pula dia. 8 jam kata Lik Guan. Okey, satu hari 8 jam maksimum. Satu hari 8 jam, kita tak kira efektif kita kira working hours saja. So kalau 1,600 hours means how many days? Cuba kira how many days, how many months? Cepat Kayun kira 200. 1,600 hours divide by 8 hours, so you have 200 days. How many months? 6.5 months. Okay, so that I think kita in general kita kira like 6 months saja. Okay, sekejap So kita ada 6 months. Working hours 8 hours. So kita ada 1,600 hours. You need to have 8 hours per day. You need to have 200. You kira berapa hari per month tu Lik Guan? 200 days bagi dengan Lik Guan, you kira satu bulan ada berapa hari? 30 days. Satu bulan ada 25 days saja yang you bekerja. Kita tak kira 30 days. Hello? Kita kira, kita tak kira weekend ya. Kita kira working hours. So kita kira 25 days means you need to have the 8 months. 8 months part-time. So 1,600 hours in the logbook and work diary, analysis of work diary sheet, there is a provision at the back there for the assessment of your working experience. So for the part-time, you need to have the 8 hours, you need to clock in. Because you will not be able to clock in on part-time if you work as a full-time unless you are given a special permission by your supervisor, by your head of department, because you are a lecturer, which means you are not going to go 8, because 8 months is part-time. 8 months is a duration. You may be allowed to work only on certain days, Monday and Tuesday, which means it's only like 16 hours per week. So 16 hours per week, you imagine how long will it take to complete that 1,600 hours? Agak-agaknya, cuba kira Lik Guan. 16 hours per week. Maknanya satu bulan, 16 kali 4, you have about 64 hours. 64 hours per month. So how long will it take for you to complete that 1,600 hours? Agak-agaknya. Cepat. 3 years at least. Lama ya. Sebab tu kita letak kat situ the academic experience, 3 years academic experience. Right? So we have that 1,600 hours. So it cannot be a full-time basis because your HOD will not allow you to go out from the university, because take an example, Dr. Zafira, she only takes, she's now given a lot of subjects, 3 subjects. But in the normal circumstances, you may be given only 2 subjects, which means you have like 3 days lecture. So you have 2 days extra for you to work. But you still be given all other admin job. You still have to do the curriculum, you have to do this, you have to do all the organization of your research, which means you don't have that 2 solid hours per week. So in general, it may be like 4 years for you to finish your 1,600 hours, unless you are able to squeeze it during the term break, because for the private universities, you don't have that long-term break as what is enjoyed by the public university. Public university, you have 3 months break between June until October, until September. Okay, so you may be able to catch up during that time. Okay, or if you can't do it on a part-time, if you are given the sabbatical leave, you may go for the 6 months continuous full-time under registered valuer during that 3 years. For lecturers in a public university, they have the benefit of doing the sabbatical leave. Sabbatical leave is a period of like 5 months or 9 months. So if you are given 5 months, you may request for another 1 month for you to finish that minimum of 6 months continuous full-time under that, within that 3 years as an academician. Boleh? Boleh faham? Ada soalan setakat ni? Ada soalan? No? Okay. This one, we have gone through hari tu. You need to have your register as a professional evaluers, minimum of 2 continuous years. These are the area, 3 out of 8. Then you need to submit your workbook log diary. We are going to go through in detail of this one. And you have your record of experience, and you have your practical tasks. You need to submit your practical tasks and go for the interview, which have valuation, property law and taxation, property management. We will go through in details after this. Right? Ada soalan setakat ni? Do you manage to get this book? Even though I said don't buy because the board is going to issue a new one. These are the rules and guidelines to the test of professional competence for registration as valuers. Right? Ada tak siapa-siapa yang ada copy? I thought there's, yes, you have soft copy by your senior. Siapa yang bagi hari tu, saya suruh bagi ajaran sesat. Yeah, Adiba. Adiba, are you here?
Ada.
Ada. You dah bagi semua? Kalau buat tahu, habis you. Masuk penjara you. Okay. The TPC, these are the TPC. I think if you have a copy, can it's not a problem. We can go through the soft copy. Everybody have a soft copy, Ada, Okay, in the soft copy, in the logbook, in the essentially rules and guidelines. It's not really rules because it's only a guideline. I don't know why they use the word rules. I think we have going to change this one anyway. In the rules and guidelines, it mentioned about areas of professional experience. Once you graduate, then you register as a PV, get this book, buy this book, $10, and then you'll be given the area of approved experience, 8 areas of approved experience, right? The 8 areas, I think we have also, no, we didn't much changes on this. We're going to maintain this. So we have the first one, valuation of landed properties. Valuation of landed properties, including plant and machinery equipments where applicable in relation to capital and rental values. So if you determine your landed properties, it's just landed properties here. Okay. That's the reason why we need to change this one, because we don't have that many jobs on landed properties for valuation. I think more and more now job is more on the multi-level, which means the stratified properties, apartment, condominium. So if you go on area 1, be careful with that, because area 1 is mentioned as valuation of landed properties. Landed properties, examples, apa dia Pak Ikmal? Pak Ikmal, landed properties refers to Pak Ikmal.
Yes, Doctor.
Landed properties refers to.
Sekejap, Doktor lupa.
Contoh landed properties, lupa pula. Rumah kakak you rumah jenis apa?
Strata.
Strata. Ada strata? Ada strata ke? Oh, apartment ada strata ya. Okay, apartment. Under properties refers to terrace house, family.
Apa-apa yang dekat lantai pula, apa-apa yang ada tanah.
Apa-apa yang ada tanah. Hati je, sabar je lah. Nurul Ain'ni, landed properties. Nurul Ain'ni, mana dia pergi pula? Detached lagi. Semi-detached, okay. Okay. For UM student, saya yakin semua tahu the difference between detached and semi-detached. Because we do have graduate from other universities, I don't want to mention the universities, who don't even know the difference between detached and bungalow. Sama tak agak-agaknya detached dengan bungalow tu? Ikhwan. Gimana pula ni makan benda yang siapa hilang ni? Chua, you here? Adiba?
Yes, doctor.
Ada pun Chua, estate agent ni. Detached dengan bungalow, apa beza dia?
This one I really don't know. Is that same have their own land? No different?
Is it the same? Detached lot and bungalow lot, is it the same?
For me, it's the same.
For you, it's the same. I ketuk you Chua. You jual property. Kayun? Are you confused? Kayun, detached and bungalow, sama tak?
In my opinion, sama.
Sama. Bingkai, sama tak? Bingkai, you here?
Opinion pun
Bingkai
sama.
Sama lah, detached dengan bungalow. Jangan buat malu budak UM lah. Okay. Detached and bungalow sama saja. Sama saja term tu. Detached lot, bungalow lot is the same. Unless you kata zero lot bungalow, zero lot detached lot pun benda yang sama, cuma dia pergi ke boundary, ada beza sikit. I don't think we have that many zero lot bungalow now. Do we, Chua? Do you happen to sell few zero lot bungalow? Chua? Ada. Kondo sahaja. More money. Okay. So we have valuation of land. Wondering why we call apartment and service apartment. When both type of property, apa benda Guan tulis balik, I tak sempat baca. Tak boleh nak turn. Guan, mana dia pula? Somebody baca for me, I tak boleh buka.
After just wondering why we call apartment and service apartment when both type properties serve same purpose as residential but different syarat and title.
Okay, service apartment is different. Service apartment is under commercial. Everything on service apartment is under commercial. Dia apa itu? Quick rent is under commercial. Building but commercial, not residential. Their assessment is under commercial. Their electricity bill, their water bill is all under commercial. Itu service apartment. Unlike apartments and condominium, when you say service, it's not the facilities. It's a service apartment is something like slightly below the hotel punya standard lah, kodon-kodonnya lah. But when you talk about service apartment, they are all purely commercial. So that's the reason why developer choose to sell service apartment, because if you sell under a residential unit, there is a requirement from the bank negara that you will be given only 90% loan. Betul Chua? Do you get 100% loan? Chua? Yes. So for the residential unit, we only got 90% loan. But for commercial, we have 100% loan. So that's the reason why developer is very keen to sell the units, and why many buyers also are keen to purchase service apartment, because they can get 100% loan. But they forget that service apartment is under commercial, which means your electricity bill, higher plot ratio, more units, correct, betul? Higher plot ratio itu untuk developer lah. But for the buyers, which means you have to pay electricity bill on the commercial rate, not residential rate. And your assessment by the local authority is also on commercial rates. And your quick rent is also on commercial rate. Everything is commercial. Unlike apartments and condominium, they are under residential. The difference is on the loan. Itu sebab dia play with the sentiment of the market. Itu the reason why the developer sells service apartment. Boleh faham? New League One? It's not the same. When you say service apartment means commercial. When you say apartments and condominiums, they are residential. So the requirement to provide the services as far as residential and commercial is not the same. For residential, there is a certain plot density. Residential is density. Masih ingat lagi? But for commercial, you go on plot ratio. And for your provision of car park also, you go on the commercial punya provision. For residential, it's different. Boleh faham? Ada banyak tu. Ada banyak implication dia when you talk about the difference between residential and commercial. Boleh, League One? Okay, come back to this one. So the area one is valuation of landed properties. Ini ramai orang lupa ni. And then you have rating and local taxation. Apa lagi local taxation yang ada? Rating lagi. Apa lagi local taxation? Apa lagi yang ada? Local taxation apa lagi yang ada? Satu sajalah. Kalau dia panggil rating or local taxation. It's either one. Okay. And then kita ada kita ada property management, kita ada real estate agency, and kita ada compulsory land acquisition and compensation. Ini yang lama ya, but we're going to have a new one. But basically kita tak lari dia punya komponen dia. And we have national taxation. What are the example of national taxation? Agak-agak new lah. What are the example of national taxation? Minyao?
Yes, Prof.
Dia boleh cakap. League One tak boleh cakap. Okay. What are the example of national taxation?
Income tax.
Income tax. You require valuation for income tax purpose?
Yes.
Nak buat apa tu?
Not income tax, national taxation. For corporate maybe.
For corporate boleh, you ada belajar kan? Okay, for assessment kata League One, yes. Assessment dah ada kat rating tadi, you tak boleh claim as national tax. Assessment is local taxation lah League One. Cekik you kan, baru go to tadi. Mana ada national taxation as assessment? Assessment is by which authority? Miao?
The local authority.
Local authority, which means it's local taxation. National means federal taxation. RPGT, yes. Lagi? RPGT, stamp duty, itu dia. Orang rent dah keluar dah. Stamp duty memang kena bayar. Stamp duty itulah yang JPPH buat. Because yang ini, area 6 is basically to cater those who work with the government services. And in the federal, so in the government services, most of their job are concentrated heavily on the stamp duty, RPGT, and perhaps from time to time they do have also PME, like what you have gone through with Surveyor Haji Khairuddin hari itu kan. And then those who work with local authority, that's the reason why they have the area 2 rating local, because we don't want, when the board designed these areas of professional experience, they want everybody to be, every single experiences in the government or in the private sector to be included. Right? So we have property management, we have real estate agency, we have compulsory land acquisition and compensation, national taxation, property development and investment, those who work with the private developer, and property consultancy and research, those who just do market study, feasibility study. Also, you are given a chance to become a registered valuer, provided you have 2 other areas as well. So you have 8 areas, choose 3. Choose 3, not to say you can cover so much. Choose 3 areas only. So if you can go, area 1 is valuation, area 2 is also valuation, area 5 is valuation, area 6 is valuation. That's the reason why we say you want to be a registered valuer. Boleh faham? Okay, now we move. So we have work diary and logbook. Work diary and logbook consists of, kalau you buka you punya soft copy ya, dia ada soft copy dengan you yang buku kuning tadi kan? Ni. Rules and TPC. Turn to page 3, which is item number 5. We have work diary and logbook. It's actually for the valuers, it's called work diary and logbook. It is only one book. For the estate agent, it's known as work diary. Just to differentiate. But the new one we term as logbook for both. Okay, so it consists of 104 or 52 weeks. 104 means how many years? 52 weeks means how many years? Well, I forgot to inform tadi when we are at this stage, tadi No, when we are at this stage, when we say 2 years experience, the board has actually allowed those who work in overseas, those days, when we reduce them to 1 year experience, those who work in the field overseas and the professional experience, so they allow you to reduce to 1 year PV, 1 year experience during the PV instead of 2 years. Those days, because when those days to work in overseas, it's just like, oh, now we don't recognize that because we have equally good practice in Malaysia. So basically, it's 2 years. But since they're allowed to reduce to be 1 year, that's the reason why we have that 52 weeks. 104 weeks is how many years? Liguan? Liguan! Nurul Ain'ni, Minyao, 104 weeks, how many years? Macam mana you kira 2 years and a half ni? Satu tahun ada berapa minggu ni?
52 minggu.
52. So kalau 104?
2 years.
Yeah, Minyao, you pergi rotan sikit Liguan ni. Dia suka lebih-lebih.
After I now jauh from him there.
Jauh from dia, baling eraser kat dia.
I'm at my hometown now.
Oh, your hometown. You dekat mana, Minyao?
Raut Pahang.
Oh, you empat raut juga. Okay. Tak boleh nak baling lah, tak boleh rotan dia lah. Okay, never mind. Minyao dengan, oh no, Liguan, 104 is actually 2 years. So bear in mind, because the board allows for 1 year supervision under registered valuer for those experienced abroad, foreign countries. You can have that 1 year experience for PV, but for the local PV is 2 years. Unfortunately, we don't recognize that anymore. Now it's just 2 years and we don't really have that 1 year abroad, even though we still allow in the current logbook, in the current TPC rules and guidelines. Okay, and for the lecturers, you have that 6 months or 1,600 hours. These are a full one. Okay, you need to submit to the board not later than 30 days for preliminary assessment and final assessment. 2 kali. So if you look at the example that I've given you kat sini, work diary and logbook. Kalau saya besarkan sikit ni. Work diary and logbook. Okay. You tengok, this is the candidate's name. You need to write in the candidate's name here and your supervisor's name. So you can either put one name. Tadi siapa yang tanya tadi? Susan. You can put one name, supervisor, or you can put 2 names, your supervisors dekat sini, because in the new logbook, we allow you to have few supervisors' name. Because if there is change of supervisors, you need to inform the board as well. So you may have more than one supervisor's name. You need to have the employer's name, the name of the company, and the date of commencement you bila start, the date of completion you bila habis. This is for the 2 years or for the 6 months or for 1,600 hours for the lecturers, right? So in this case, this is a year 2 logbook, right? So if you can move, this is the year 1 logbook, sama juga. Okay. 22nd April, now is May. Maknanya 22nd April 2021. This is your year 1. No, it's year 2 as well. Means you are supposed to submit within 30 days. Kalau you submit more than 30 days, the tendency is ini bulan 4. Okay, so it's still within 2. Now May, okay, 1 month. So the board has reached earlier, but it comes to the, because your work diary and logbook will then be submitted to an assessor who will read what the contents of your logbook and then pass a remark whether approved or not approved, whether penalty is imposed because you submit late, or whether you still need to be extended because the contents do not sufficiently covered by you in the 3 areas in the first year. Particularly in the second year, we are more concerned, but the first year also we may extend you. In the second year, sometimes we just extend maybe up to 3 months or 6 months. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, depending on the assessor judgment, how long to extend if you do not fulfill the requirements on the your contents of the logbook. Okay, So submit not later than 30 days. If you submit later than 30 days, you will be imposed penalty. 1 month, 3 months. Because there are cases where the candidates are very smart. In the current pandemic experience, they say they cannot submit because the supervisor cannot sign, macam-macam reason lah dia bagi. Right? And then they extend sendiri. They extend 6 months later and then they submit. Even though you extend, you are not supposed to extend on your own. You have to submit to the assessor first, and the assessor will then impose penalty to extend 3 months or 6 months. Even though you have extended 6 months, but you submit late, the assessor might still impose a penalty, a minimum of 1 month. Okay, so notify the board if your logbook is lost so that we can continue to take it from which months are you done lost. Right? Ada soalan setakat ni? Ada soalan? Ada soalan untuk logbook work diary? Tawas, ada soalan? Tawas, are you here? Ikhwan, Pak Ikmal, ada soalan?
Tak ada, doktor.
Tak ada, okay. Now, come back to this one. Take note, you can notify if the logbook is lost, and then now we come to the content of the workbook and log diary. Okay, the workbook and work diary must be signed by candidate and supervisor at the end of every week. Itu dia cakap clear, every week. But what happen is, dia tak sign every week. Bila dia nak submit, baru dia sign. Okay, ini in 2019. And then dia submit July. Okay, ini macam dia submit every week lah. Okay, so you have preparation of groundwork for inspection, which included preparation of plans, general plan, site plan, shop plan, gathering information, 1.2. So if you can refer back to your page, professional experience, Appendix A, page 9. Ada tak? Soft copy, Appendix A, page 9. Are you with me, Basan? Do you have the soft copy? Hello?
Yes, doctor.
Ada soft copy tak?
No, doctor.
Why you don't have the soft copy? Everybody have a soft copy.
I tried to find it just now, but I couldn't find it. I'll look for it again.
It's from your colleagues. Go and get it from your colleagues, unless you're not in their loop. Everybody has that. Make sure you have that, because you don't have a hard copy. Tak ada soft copy. Tak ada, macam mana nak belajar ni, Basan? Okay, I want you to become a registered valuer, ya, Basan, because you are good. 2 years time, you become a registered valuer. Minimum 3 years. Okay, maximum 3 years. Lepas tu jadi registered valuer, ya, Basan? Okay. Nurul Faikmal, ada soft copy-nya kan?
Saya ada hard copy.
Ada hard copy, okay, lagi bagus. Tengok dekat sini, 1.2. 1.2 refers to what? Dia tulis kat sini 1.2. Ini code of training areas dia 1.2. Kalau tengok dekat sini, code of training areas. This is in the logbook. Okay, you kena letak week berapa. Jangan taruh date saja ya. Don't just put date. Put your week, how many weeks? Because if you have the 52 weeks, meaning the year 1. If you have your 6 months, then you have your week berapa untuk month 1, month 2, month 3. Okay, you must have that week berapa and then the date for each week. Okay, so 1.2 actually read as what? In the Appendix A, areas of approved professional experience. Pak Ikmal. Hilang pula dia. Aswin, are you here? Do you have a copy? Aswin. Pergi mana pula lah dia?
Ada tapi kena buka cari file sekejap.
Page 9. You cakap tadi hard copy. Senanglah buka.
Ya, doktor.
Ada tak?
Tak ada. Cari file siapa.
Do you have a copy of the book? Taxation. Area 1.2. Liguan boleh buka. Oh, saya salah tengok. Memang Soklin salah tengok. Cepat Soklin. Area 1.2 refers to this slide. It's mentioned here. Nature of professional work carried out, code of training area. Because there are cases when the candidates do not know what to fill in the code of training area. Like Soklin cakap, assembly of data including title search. Correct. So that is the, so apa yang dia tulis ni? Why dia taruh 1.2? Because in 1.2 is talk about assembly of data including title search, planning inquiries, comparables and their analysis. So what the candidate has done within this week 13 on 18th of July, he did preparation of groundwork for inspection, which include preparation of plans, approximate plans, apa benda lah, general plan, approximate plan, suka hati dia lah. Site plan, floor layout plan, gathering of sales comparables, and all this activity fulfill the code area of 1.2. And the second day, next day, dia pun buat benda yang sama juga, rental evidences and asking rental. It's like copy and paste, but we still allow that, 1.2 juga, right? So under area 1.2. So if you can move, other example, what will happen if salah code? Kita akan penalize you, kita akan suruh you betulkan. Don't just put code suka-suka hati ya, because the assessor baca ya. Kita baca yang kita match. And kita buat macam baca thesis lah. Kalau lecture macam saya akan buat macam saya akan ambil at random, saya check. Kalau ada salah, saya akan check semua. Kalau tak salah, okay, saya pejam mata. Saya boleh assume dia betul. Tapi saya dah hafal kod-kod ni. So most of the assessor yang baru-baru dia tak hafal, dia lagi rigid. Dia akan buka satu-satu kod yang ada, yang match balik dengan appendix A as per page 9, 10, 11. Okay, now we look at this page. The second example here, in week 38, dia ada collection, or dia buat through 3.9 dengan 4.7. Okay, 3.9 refers to apa agaknya 3.9? So, Lynn, 3.9 is what? 3.9 refers to, this is the area of upper area 3. So, Lynn, are you here? Baik, dah jumpa dah? Other relevant professional experience under apa? Because other relevant professional experience very big under PM ya. Because if you look at area 1, area 2, area 3, area 4 sampai semua area 8 tu, the last one dia akan letak other relevant professional experience. But that other relevant professional experience must be related to which area? Kalau you letak area 3.9, it must be related to property management. Okay, come let us have a look whether that 3.9 is related to property management or not. Okay, you baca the first one. Collection of all the relevant information for preparation of monthly reports such as incident report, feedbacks, monthly services. Okay, this is very much related to property management. So we take 3.9 is correct. And then the second one, monthly meeting with client and discuss all work progress and outstanding work. Prepare or minutes of meeting, preparation of detailed monthly report on the overall operation of the property. So you assume, because now he is in the property management, because you don't crisscross. So this is also boleh lah kita accept as 3.9. And preparation of detailed monthly report on the overall operation of the property also refers to 3.9, boleh accept. And preparation of detailed monthly report for the overall submission of monthly report to client, yes, right? And the last one is email campaign and calling apa benda calling tu? Looking for potential tenant buyer for these properties under listing. So it's 4.7. 4.7 kita panggil juga cold call ya. Chua, are you here? Chua 10-1, you still here? Chua? Siapa lagi yang buat estate agency? Cisam kan? Cisam? Chua 10-1, are you still here? Kita tak ada dah. Masuk saja yang dah hilang. Chua! Hilang pula dia. Cisam, are you here? Jom. No, not here. Nanti boleh delete dia punya attendance ni. Okay, for the estate agent 4.7. For the 4.7 Pak Iqmal, area apa tu 4.7? Pak Iqmal. Hilang pula. Nazri, okay, Pak Iqmal. Pak Iqmal.
Saya cakap seorang rupanya.
Apa dia? Okay, cakap ramai-ramai sekarang.
4.7.
Dia letak 4.7 kat situ.
Tak ada pun.
Apa yang tak ada muka surat 10 tu? Do you have a copy or the hard copy? Ada kan?
Ada.
Ha. Betul ke ni?
Sekejap doktor.
Daripada tadi ni duduk sekejap. Dia tu nipis saja kot. Ni buku apa je buka ni Pak Iqbal?
4.7.
Apa dia? Area apa tu? Area 4 refers to?
Area 4, real estate agency, sales, letting, purchase and land and buildings.
So 4.7 refers to?
Advertising and marketing.
Yes, advertising and marketing. So you look at apa yang dia tulis kat situ. Email, campaign and calling. Calling, patutnya call tu. Suka-suka hati je dia. Looking for potential tenant buyer for these properties under listing. So it's termed as 4.7 and he's doing some advertising and marketing. So kita boleh terima yang itu. Boleh? Boleh? Thank you Pak Iqbal. So ini contoh-contoh. So you make sure you ada your signature, you ada your date, you ada your supervisor signature and there is a requirement there, names in block letters. Because there are cases where candidate dia dapatkan supervisor dia to just sign and forget about the names of the supervisor in block letters. Sebab ini dia tulis block letters, ni kena ikut block letter. Jangan pergi tulis huruf kecil, kita akan suruh baiki balik. And the date must be there. Right? So a simple thing where there are cases when I approve assessment and I also did some training for our new board members last time. If they assess a logbook, if they are missing names in block letters and date, we will return back to the candidates, ask them to resubmit once they have insert all those things, then only they can continue their logbook, which means it may be like an extension of another 1 month. Right? Boleh faham? So don't take things easy. Okay, now kita pergi kepada analysis of diary sheets. In maximum, there are 25 working days per month. So you must ensure a balance of 3 areas of professional experience. Nah, kita tengok apa dia. Tak nampaklah pula. Macam mana nak turn ke ni? Macam mana saya nak pusingkan dia? Saya tak pandai lah. Okay lah, tengok sendiri sajalah. But basically, analysis of diary sheets yang kebelah sini, yang atas dekat sini is the areas. Area 1, Area 2, Area 3, Area 4 and Area 6. Okay. So dalam dekat sini, kalau you tengok Area 1, Month 1, dia ada Month 1 sampai Month 12. Take note ya, because cases where candidates tak reti nak tulis ni. Dia dah bagi all the tasks involved must done by ourselves. Yes, can we value property with someone else? Boleh, because you are a trainee. But you must do the valuation lah. You must be the person yang involved, right? So kalau tengok dekat sini, analysis of diary sheet, this is at the back of your logbook dengan word diary tadi, which many candidates sekarang lupa nak isi ni. Dia lupa dan kita submit and they have to resubmit balik. They have to calculate. Kalau dia salah calculate, kita suruh recalculate balik until we are satisfied. So it may be ding dong few times. So it's not a pleasant experience because that will delay your submission. You will extend your 2 years kalau you nak buat 2 years. Okay, what happened is we have area 1 until area 8. So they concentrate in area 1, 3 and 4. Yang tadi kita ada area 3, area 4, area 1 kan. 1, 3 and 4 means this particular candidate is doing the valuation, property management and estate agency. Kalau tengok in month 1, the 1, 2, 3 sampai 12 yang ini, because the analysis diary sheet for months 1 to 24. This is for the typical 2 years professionally valuers experience. So kita ada month 1 to 12 and then we have a break for you to submit for the preliminary assessment and then you continue month 13 until month 24 and then you have another grand total here. This is for the year 1 logbook. Which means he needs to have another year 1, year 2. Okay, for the area 1, dia ada 5 saja. For the area 3, dia ada 15, area 4 dia ada. What happened is, macam mana nak calculate 5 ke 1 ke 7 ke apa ke? Go back to this one tadi. Kita ada dekat sini area 3.9 in week 38. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? This is week 38, bukan month. Bear in mind dia pakai, dia ikut month. So week 38 is actually like, kalau you bagi 4 is like month 6. Okay. month 6 kat sini. So you ada banyak on week dekat sini. So kita akan bilang, kita akan kira, we calculate, we match back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is week 1. In the month 6 kita ada how many count for week for area 3, how many count for area 4, how many count for area 1, and that will be stated here. Boleh faham? Ada soalan? Boleh faham Chua? Adibah, boleh faham macam mana nak kira you punya analysis of diary sheets? Hello? Ada soalan? Ikhwan, boleh faham macam mana nak kira analysis of diary sheets, because there are a lot of cases where we ask the candidate to resubmit for the analysis of diary sheets. Ada soalan? Boleh faham macam mana nak kira dia? So dalam 1 bulan, maximum is only 25 days. So you jangan letak kat sini sampai 27 days. Liguan boleh faham? So we mention here in general, it cannot be, you only have 25 working days and you go on the dominant work that you do on that particular days. Because like for example, in this week, dia ada like one day, dia ada 2 kerja. Which one is more dominant? 4.7, which one may take a lot of time? This one or this one? So you only kira satu saja, because you cannot have more than 25 numbers here. It cannot be more than 25. It has to be within that 25. One day, satu hari, satu dom job. Just buat a call saja, it doesn't take long. Maybe in this case, you nak letak 3.9 rather than 4.7. Or if you feel that 3.7 take up a lot of your time compared to just preparation, because the preparation has been done earlier, this is your final bid only. So for this case, week 38, you ambil satu, you kira 4.7. Do you get me? Boleh faham, Susan? Wandida, are you here? Saliza, are you here? Saliza, you dekat mana? Nurul Saliza?
Yes, doctor. I'm in my hometown, Sabah.
Ha, siapa bunyi?
Baby.
You dekat mana Pedampang, Zed?
No, that's Melissa. Saya dekat Tawau.
Oh, you dekat Tawau.
Yes.
Okay. Boleh Boleh faham? Do you get me when I say maximum 25 days? What does it mean?
I tak dengar sangat tadi, doktor. Ada baby kat sini bising.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, Syahira. Mana Syahira sama? Syahira. Syahira, you dah bangun tidur ke belum?
Ya.
You ingat saya tak panggil you, saya lupa dia. Saya tak lupa. Kita ada Syahira, kita ada Faziana yang saya tak panggil lagi. Okay, Syahira. When I explain general maximum of 25 days, 25 working days per month, what does it mean as far as analysis of diary sheets is concerned? Apa yang you faham? Syahira.
Dalam sebulan tu, maksimum boleh buat 25 hari je.
Dekat mana?
Tak boleh buat 30 hari dalam logbook punya.
Dekat analysis of diary sheet, bukan dalam logbook kat sini. Not in this.
Analysis of diary sheet.
You can letak mana-mana berapa kat sini, it's fine, code of training areas, but when you calculate this one in the analysis of diary sheet, it has to be on the dominant job of that particular days. Right? So kalau you letak 27 days, can we choose other areas in TPC although we didn't practice in that particular area? Area TPC tu apa tu? Siapa cakap tadi? Liguan, is it? Areas of TPC, what does it mean? Can somebody explain to me? Siapa soalan dia tadi, saya tak boleh nak, saya kecilkan nanti kan tak nampak slide saya. Areas of TPC means, is it referring to area? Because we have 8 areas. You can do 1, 2 sampai 8, you can choose. But one of the area must be evaluation. Okay, boleh? Did I answer your question? Is it Liguan? Tadi. Siapa post the message tadi? I tak sempat baca.
Oh, saya doktor.
Liguan. Okay, right. So what happen? TPC area means area 1 until 8. So you ada a choice here, area 1 until 8. So you can do area 1 and T8, it's fine. Not necessarily confined to macam gini saja. You may have some other experience, but it's just like very nominal, but you want to just to highlight. Because we want to only consider 3 areas of experience. Right? Okay, ada soalan setakat ni, but you must ensure a balance of 3 areas of professional experience. So let's see whether kat sini in this case dia balance ke tak balance. Okay, kalau tengok 66.5, 70.5, 98, 89.5. Okay, this is more or less balanced. Because there are a lot of cases when the candidates in area 1, if they work in the valuation firm, they heavily concentrated on area 1 in year 1. In year 1, it's fine. So the assessor will normally put a remark on your logbook and work diary sheet when they do the assessment is to ensure a balance of 3 areas in area 2. So if you already focus so much in area 1 in year 1, so make sure in year 2 you focus on the other 2 areas so that it become balanced. So kita tak nak satu is dominated by satu area saja. Because if you just concentrate on one area and the other 2 were just like not sufficient, the assessor will sometimes impose a penalty to you. Not to say penalty, we will ask you to extend another 3 months or 3 months and to just concentrate on which particular area in which you are lacking. Do you get me? Right? So that's going to happen if you do not have a balance within 3 areas. We will ask you to extend and we will also dictate which area to be extended so that you can have the sufficient 3 areas of working experience. Right? Ada soalan setakat ni? Ada soalan? Tak ada? Okay, we move to the next one.
Prof.
Yes?
So after that, does the firm usually then allow the employee to work in that area?
Yeah, you have to go back to the employee because the supervisor who is a registered valuer should understand the responsibility of him to actually allocate you sufficient area for the 3 areas during the PV duration. In most cases, tak ada problem.
Alright.
Unless kalau dia kata it's difficult, then you have to get the external. Then you have to go to the board and bagi tahu. Then the supervisor will be in problem. Because in most cases, the supervisor will allow you. But there are cases when you may work with a small firm which only don't do much in valuation, just a bit of the valuation, but they do a lot on property management and estate agency. So you may ask them to do, instead of valuation, you can also opt for another area which is property consultancy and research kat belakang. But we still want you to do the valuation because kita ada 4 area of valuation tadi. Because you work with a valuation firm. Kalau if you work with an estate agency firm, then your external supervisor must be from the valuation firm. Boleh? At the end of the day, the 3 areas of work experience must be equal, must be balanced. Right? Can we move? Sudah pukul 11.30 dah. Okay, record of experience. So in addition to the logbook tadi, record of experience, if you go to page 5, item number 7, once you have completed your 2 years, you submit your logbook and work diary tadi with or without the extension of period, with or without the penalty, then you want to submit for the TPC. You are now eligible to go for the TPC. Because in the work diary, once you have completed your year 2 and the assessor has already accepted and approved your 2 years, so the remark will be stated as proceed to TPC. If not, proceed to year 2. Kalau you baru year 1, dia kata approve your year 1 logbook, proceed to year 2. Then you continue with your year 2 logbook. If you have completed your year 2 logbook, now if they are satisfied with all the requirements as far as the balance of areas of experience, as far as the contents of your work diary tadi, and also your analysis of diary sheets are approved, are accepted, then the remark will be stated as proceed to TPC. Once you have that statement, proceed to TPC, what happens now is you submit to the board again using a form that you will now register untuk TPC, pay the fee accordingly dalam prescribed ada form dia. And together with the record of experience, the ROE, record of experience, kalau tengok dalam board kalau ada change of employer, change of supervisor, you need to notify the board. And dalam record of experience, not less than 500 words, not less. Yeah? And it must be certified by supervisor that this is your own word, unaided. That's why siapa yang tanya tadi, can you have a partner in doing this job? Yes, but when you do the valuation, it must be your own unaided word. Okay, it's endorsed by your supervisor, by your manager. And in your ROE, you must have the type of work, that is the areas of experience. You ada 8 tadi kan? Sorry. Tak boleh minum air sebab saya puasa. Okay, the geographical area and the type of property or matters dealt, the candidate's level of responsibility, any other information. Okay, let's say in year 1, you work in a private firm in a branch office at Johor Bahru. Betul kan Pak Iqmal? Johor Bahru. Agak-agak firm apa dekat Johor Bahru yang you boleh kerja?
Firm apa? Firdaus and apa lupa
Firdaus yang dia nampak. Lagi,
entahlah, tak ingatlah doktor, saya cari
dah pergi Firdaus and Associate sajalah. Bagus Firdaus ni buat marketing.
Itu saya tahu.
Punyalah banyak company lain. Kita ada Rahim Menko, kita ada CH William.
Semua jauh-jauh. Company yang maksudnya company yang besar, macam kat Selangor yang besar-besar, kalau dekat Johor semua bukan dekat JB.
Dekat mana? Dekat
mostly dekat Batu Pahat, Muar.
Ya ke? Rahim Menko Johor kan ada kan? Dia ada Rahim Menko JB. Pandailah you. CH William also is in JB. Unless they move to Nusa Jaya, I don't know. Okay, Firdaus and Associate dekat Johor Bahru. Kat mana Johor Bahru? Firdaus and Associate yang company kat mana?
Tak start saya dekat Mid Valley. Kawasan Mid Valley.
Mid Valley Johor Bahru?
Kawasan tu. Saya pun lupa. Saya mohon tapi saya lupa.
Okay. Okay, we have Firdaus and Associate in Johor Bahru. So once you graduate, bukan buat internship, once you graduate, katakanlah Firdaus and Associate offer Pak Iqmal a job in Johor Bahru. So in the record of experience, in year 1, dia akan tulis dekat situ. So preferably, you do it like a table format rather than you buat tulis satu-satu. Because it's easier for the assessor to read your ROE. Because when you want to read your ROE, when you want to approve your ROE, kita akan baca whether your 3 areas yang you buat dekat logbook. It's actually the ROE is extract daripada your logbook. All the information from your logbook, you bawa balik kepada ROE. You summarize dekat situ. Because your logbook is like a diary lah. Every day you key in. Dulu-dulu orang rajin tulis diary. Sekarang orang tak tulis diary dah. Dia tulis kat Facebook sahaja. Betul kan Pak Iqmal? Bukan Facebook, dia kata Instagram pun tak main dah Instagram. Sekarang tulis apa? Snapchat lah atau apa-apa nama you lah. Okay. Okay, kita ada type of work. Apa kerja yang you dah buat? Type of work means yang tadilah area 1, area evaluation ke, rating ke. And then you ada geographical area. Kalau you first year in Johor Bahru, then the second year you move down to KL, make sure it's fine. Make sure dia tak ada break because it has to be 2 continuous years. Which means, if you're not happy in that particular company, don't just leave the company like that. Get another job first. And then normally you continue bagi you punya termination clause, you habis on the 30th of March and then you continue on the 1st of April. So you tak ada gap dekat situ. Okay. Now, geographical area in which area? In Johor Bahru or your property is dekat Skudai or the property dekat Batu Pahat. This is your geographical area of the subject property yang you buat the job. Let's say the valuation ataupun the property management or even the estate agency. And the type of property is actually what type of property? The detail tadi lah, landed property or buat service apartment or buat condominium. And you bagi your property address ataupun the identification of property, lot number, PT number, kita akan tengok yang ni. Right? And candidates level of responsibility, you do as a valuation executive or you do as a property executive, property management executive, or you do an estate agent executive as well. right? So any other information that demonstrate the experience, let's say you kata you organize a talk for the real estate agency, then you are the coordinator, itulah kerja yang you buat for the matters. Or you organize a conference for Fidas Associates, and you invite all the speakers for the seminars. That is your any other information that demonstrate the experience gain as far as the areas of experience is concerned. Because kalau you kata you organize, you invite a speaker, don't be shy. Mention that because that one falls under the other relevant professional experience. Boleh? Okay, if you can move. Kita nak habis. Di 11.30 pun. And then we need your practical task. Practical task, if you can move to your page 12, appendix B. Kita ada two practical task, part A, part B. Part B dah tak ada ya, kita cuma ada part A sahaja. Okay, part A pun, part A dia ada amendment ya. This is not, kalau dalam original version dia tak ada kat sini. Part A, there is an amendment in the part A. Sekejap saya cari mana amendment dia. Kita ada details on the amendment is sekejap ya. What's the question? Because dalam kat sini dia tak baiki dia punya ni. Because as of now, the part A reads as valuation, prepare a valuation report and valuation for client, advising client on the open market value of a piece of agricultural land with an area of not less than 5 hectares and with potential for change of land use, some subdivision for building purposes for sale. The candidates must incorporate advice and recommendations accordingly. Okay, yang kita ada ubah is part B actually. Question number B, Roman B, bukan part B eh. Question B, small letter B in part A. Are you with me? Tayun, are you with me? Hello? Yes. Okay, so we have part A. Part B is actually been deleted only. But you need to have, you choose from part A, dia ada A, B, C, D, E. From E, untuk you pilih, and you pilih 2 to submit. Okay, for the part A, for the small letter A, prepare a valuation report for client on the open market value of a piece of agricultural land, dekat situ, with an area of not less than 5 hectares, which is about 12 acres, and with potential of change of land use and subdivision for building purposes. Okay, dalam National Land Code, there are how many types of category of land use in the National Land Code? Ada berapa jenis kategori guna tanah? Ikhwan, are you here? Kategori guna tanah ada berapa dalam National Land Code? Building, agri, industrial. 3 saja ya. Kita ada building, agri, industrial. Dalam building dia ada berapa kategori? Dalam building ada berapa kategori? Hello? Dalam building ada berapa kategori? Residential, mixed, commercial. Banyak gila. Sudahlah Julikuan. Okay, kalau untuk residential, kalau untuk in general, kita akan ada dalam express condition, kita akan ada for residential or for commercial. 2 saja. Kalau building, dia akan ada commercial or commercial, residential or commercial. Or whether it's mixed atau apa, it's still within that component of residential and commercial. Boleh faham? Liguan, dia ada banyak gila correct, but the broad one is residential and commercial. Whether you want to do as a mixed use or whether you want to do as a hotel, it still fall under the category of commercial. You want to do shop lot, it's still under the category of commercial. But if you do light industry, it is no longer under the category of land use as building. Faham? Because it be on the specific land use of industry. The reason I highlighted this because there are cases when candidates dia baca ini and when they mention about piece of agricultural land, correct, but then when come to the second one, and with potential of change of land use and subdivision for building purposes, dia buat proposed development dia untuk industri. So for industry, it does not fall under the category of building purposes. So straight away dia kena reject and then resubmit the practical task. I don't want that to happen to Universiti Malaya student. Boleh? So the practical task, you must make sure it is for building purposes, which can either be residential or commercial only, not industry. Right? So if you are lucky, kalau chairman dia tak nampak industry, dia boleh approve, and then you fail, you submit second one, dia boleh opt. Kalau you fail, you submit the second one, the new panel come in cakap, oops, it's not industry, you may be asked to resubmit a new one. Right? So it's not that simple. So you must take note, because when you do practical tasks, it is not only just valuation. As for the valuation person, it relates with the law. It relates with the law in our Malaysian context. So when we read our National Land Code, when they say building, it only confined to residential and commercial sahaja. Boleh? So there are requirements on the practical task. These are the area there. The practical task Roman B, small letter B, prepare valuation report, report evaluation on the open market value of commercial premises. Okay, the first one, tak habis lagi tadi. You prepare a report evaluation for sale purposes, and then the candidates must incorporate advice and recommendation accordingly. So ada dua dekat situ. You ada two parts. One is to prepare just for the determination of the market value using method apa agak-agaknya kalau untuk agriculture land with potential for change of land use. What are the methods of valuation that you are going to adopt in your report evaluation? This practical task A, small letter A. Apa methods yang you nak pakai? Ayun, nak pakai method siapa?
Comparison method and residual method.
Dua, comparison and residual method. So in the residual method, you akan pakai bukan a conventional residual method, you akan pakai DCF. Ataupun you pakai conventional pun boleh. So make sure in the residual method, you can go through one by one. We have gone through in the valuation, so you have gone through the saya kan. In the residual method, it is more or less like doing a property development process. So in the residual method, jangan lari daripada property development process. What need to be done in the first step? You must first confirm that you can actually do the development in that particular area in line with the approval by the local planning authority, which means if you are allowed, then you may involve a development charge, you may involve submission of approval for the planning permission. Itulah your first step. And then you submit to the state authority, change category of land use. If your property is agriculture, you need to do change to the building purposes, building category of land use. If you are approved the change of category of land use, what need to be paid? Apa nak kena bayar kalau you dapat approval untuk tukar kategori guna tanah from agriculture to building, you nak kena bayar apa? Izzat, are you here? Izzat, nak bayar apa? Hello? Miming, nak bayar apa? Kalau you dapat approval to change the category of land use, agriculture to building, you nak kena bayar apa, Susan?
Premium.
Bayar premium. Paid to whom?
Paid to the state authority.
State authority. What's the correct term for the premium? It's not just premium. What's the correct term that you need to pay? The correct term of the premium. Not just premium. Premium ada banyak jenis. Apa the exact term dia as far as the state land rules are concerned?
Land conversion premium.
Land conversion premium. Do we have such term as land conversion premium in the state land rules? Saya pernah ajarkan, kita ada is either known as additional premium or further premium. It refers to the land conversion, yes. But as far as the state land rules are concerned, the terminology for the conversion premium is known as either additional premium or further premium. Because the land premium is paid at the juncture when you were approved from the land alienation. Masih ingat lagi? Ada kan? Dah belajar kan? Saya yang ajar tu. Okay. So the term is either dalam proses untuk residual method, you ada all those process. And then only you come to the buat survey dulu, buat feasibility study. Because some panel are very concerned. Where is the feasibility study fees? Because that will the market study fees, because that cannot be done by other professions except for valuers. Then it has to be embedded in the residual method calculation. Right? And then you do your building construction, then you have to pay to the relevant professional consultant that involved in the construction, which means siapa yang involved in the building construction, do you pay the valuer at this point of time? Kayun, how much do you allow for the professional fee for the building construction work in the residual method? Kayun?
There is a calculation.
Yeah, how much? Based on?
Based on, there's some tables.
Table?
Table to provide the calculation.
Mana ada table? Mana table apa? Mana lah you? Mana ada table? Mana you dapat table tu? CIDB bagi ke? Kayun, table apa?
Let me check. Yeah, scale of fees.
Scale of fees of what? Whom? Where you get the scale of fees? Mana dapat scale of fees? So link. Okay, Kayun.
In their act.
Yes, scale of fees of the relevant professional yang involved in the building construction. We don't have that many. Kita ada architect, kita ada land surveyor, and kita ada engineer. Based on the rescue. But in calculation, betul Liguan, link today, they have done the calculation is actually about 6% of the construction work. Because the building construction work is based on where do you get the information on the building construction cost? How are you going to calculate that building construction cost? You are going to refer to somewhere. Which point of view? Practise, yes, correct. You're going to refer to Practise Malaysia. Dulu kita ada juru ukur building the BQS punya information. Now they have already renamed it as Practise. So refer to Practise per square foot berapa? Not JUPAM. JUPAM is for the land surveyor. Yang itu cost ke atas sebelum building construction. But some may allow JUPAM in the building construction cost because they need to do some survey for the buildings to issue a strata title. But it's not done during the building construction. It's actually sebelum tu ataupun is under the professional experience saja. The building construction is purely based on the building construction cost based on the Practise information. Practise. Okay. So right. So you have that 6%, about 6% of the building construction cost, and then you have the contingencies allowance. Contingencies is meant for what? Kita dah go through the TPC. Why you allow contingencies? Contingencies is allowed for what? Fazliana, why you allow contingencies in the calculation of residual method? It's meant for what? Contingency ni untuk apa? Why you allow contingencies? Minya, where you allow contingencies? Mana lain? Minka, you here?
For emergencies.
Such as?
Like previously during the MCO they cannot carry out the construction thing.
Yes, that one is because MCO. In the normal circumstances, you still allow because in the normal circumstances when you have contingency cost. Why you allow contingency cost? MCO is one of it because you cannot do your work, so it's going to be extended. Delay means delay lah, banyak lain, so you have to allow for contingencies. You have to allow contingencies because you have to pay more to the bank, or you may be allowed. In this case, pandemic is not really not to say that because it's very rare. It's not a normal circumstances. In normal circumstances, unexpected events such as apa dia buat ini, minyau, accident like fire boleh lah lagi. Storm,
weather issue.
Okay, what is natural? Okay, accident, okay boleh. Contingencies you also allow apa pula Liguan earthquake ni. Okay. Come back to Malaysia. Don't go sampai negara lain. You just in Malaysia. Okay. For example, in a normal construction period, you ada cases where kita ada hujan, kita ada storm, then you cannot do. You have to delay your work. And then you buat sampai work sampai 12 malam, neighbor complain bising, and then you have to stop work order, so you have to stop work order. So that is another case where you have to allow for contingencies because you violate the law. You ada fire tadi, you dah buat open burning, dah kena saman, extend lagi. And then the building materials naik, you have to allow for that. So that is the contingency. The main thing is more the building materials naik because harga metro naik, labor fee mungkin naik. Itulah untuk contingencies. Right? And then you allow for finance from the financial institution. You ambil loan from the finance. When you do the residual method, you are doing it for the developer, right? For the owner, not for the developer, for the owner who is going to develop on his own. So the financing from the bank is based on loan apa? Is it going to be like a normal personal loan? Or what do they call that term of loan yang you ambil daripada bank tu?
Bridging finance.
Bridging finance, bukan end financing. Ya. End financing is for the buyer. You are doing a development, you're going to do a bridging finance. So bridging finance, you tak bayar the whole period of 2 years macam gitu. Kalau you buat construction you 2 years, you akan ambil 1/3. So in the context of Malaysia, walaupun kita ada build then sell, kita ada sell then build, dua-dua sekali. Dalam residual method, we still allow for the cases where you are able to collect your progress payment, and then your progress payment is to offset your loan. Okay, so you don't take 100% loan, you ambil like 50% or 1/3 of the loan. So you allow 50% of the total amount yang ke atas tadi, the building construction, the professional fee, you bayar lagi apa, the office punya, the site office punya facility, the project management, dalam yang sebelum you come to the finance punya calculation. Right? So the financial calculation, the finance or the bridging loan is based on the half of the total above, excluding the payment of development charge or excluding the payment, because that one you have to settle first. And then only you start with the bank when you want to proceed with the construction. As far as land matters is concerned, that one is tak masuk dalam financial. Financial punya bridging loan is meant for the construction, is meant for the project management, is meant for the contingencies, professional fee yang kat bawah tu, tengah-tengah kat situ. Do you get me? Okay, so you ambil half of the total of that amount and you half by the half period, because the balance of the other half actually when you receive your payment, you do your cash flow, you don't pay every month, you only pay like after completion of your progress. You pay on the progress payment. So that progress payment is plot, so it come up to about half of the development period. Okay, so that's the result of half of the development period, because you don't pay immediately every month. You pay on the completion of the progress work. And you pay to whom? Who you get that loan from the bank for your construction? You pay to whom? Bayar pada siapa? Susan. Pay to whom? You take that bank loan, bridging loan, pay to whom? You ambil duit tu nak bayar pada siapa?
Meaning developer need to pay to who?
Pay to whom?
Pay to the bank.
Pay to the bank. The bank give you the money, you pay to the bank. Bank give you the money, you ask the bank for the money. Developer ask the bank for the money. You want to pay to whom?
Pay to the construction
Contractors.
Pay to the contractor. So you pay to the contractor based on the progress completed work. Okay, so that's the reason why half dekat situ. And half of the amount, because the half of the total amount, because the balance of the other half is paid by who? You only take half. So the balance, 50% lagi bayar. Siapa nak bayar?
And finance.
And finance. Okay, based on the progress payment. So half because of the end finance. Half the other one because of the term, because you paid on the completion of the progress. Itu jawapan dia. Because TPC will ask you that detail. Why you take half? Why you take half? When do you pay? Why you pay? You pay who? You need to know that. Okay. And then we have also for the marketing and legal fee. How much do you allow for that? That one is based on what? Marketing and legal fee. Based on GDV. How many percent? Berapa persen? 30%. Can you get 30% now? 3% lingkuan nak cekik you. Cannot get 3%. Mana ada orang buat business 3%? We used to have 30%, yes. But those are the days because now it's very hard time. So now they only allow about 15% because developer will not do it at 10%. In most cases, in general, developer allow for 15%. Walaupun kita kata they don't do more, they don't do less than 100%, but they have to allow for their courses which is embedded in the course that is not revealed. And in general, it comes to about 15% of the GDV. And those days, we allow the profit and loss of the development like 30%. But itu the developer's profit. No wonder Lee Kuan cakap 3%. 3% for the estate agency, correct. 3% for the estate agent. And maybe just 3% to inclusive of the 1% of the lawyer's fee. Lawyer's fee is also on the GDV. Because the estate agent 3%, 5% pun boleh. Estate agent kalau jual progress, kalau jual projek, dia akan ambil berapa? Jual, don't take 3 kan? You take 10, you take 5. Jual 5%. So you allow in general 5% or 3% is good enough to sufficiently cover the cost for estate agent. Right? So the cost of estate agent we allow in this case not as a project but for the estate agent 3% of the sales, which is inclusive of the legal fee. Right? And then then we allow for 30%. So my apologies, Lee Guan, betul 30%. Bukan siapa yang cakap tadi, so Ling is it 30%? For the estate agency, marketing fee is 3%. And then we have to allow another maximum of 30%, which we don't allow 30% in the current scenario. So as a valuer, you need to be aware of what's happening to the market. If the market is soft, then you don't take 30%. It's only about 15%. If the loan is so rigid, you don't take 6%. Loan may be like 10%, 8% now. Or if there's no development, the bank is so keen to have job, they may allow you for 8%, 5%, we don't know. You have to follow up what's the rate like in the market, right? So in general, the practical tasks will need to have the 2 practical tasks. You can either go for the agriculture and do conversion for doing residual methods and comparison, or you prepare the market, the report and valuation for commercial law. I think this is the one that we missed. The other one is based on 6-story because there are cases when they don't have 6-story in, I think Muar or Batu Pahat. Saya tak tahu siapa orang Muar, siapa Batu Pahat. Don't have that many 6 stories in the urban for sales and mortgage, and we allow you to extend to, I think it's 50,000 square feet if I'm not mistaken. There is a amendment on this item B. And if you can choose also for land acquisition, take note on the land acquisition. They are the 1, 2, 3, 4. So they must have compensation to tenants and subtenants because there are cases when the candidate submit without compensation to tenants and subtenants, and you have to resubmit balik. Right? And take note on that. Property financial report, this is very rarely done, but there are cases when this candidate submit financial appraisal report of property development because it's clearly guided here. But item E, management report, so far there is no guided, and so far, kalau as of now, I would recommend you not to do E unless you have a very detailed management report as far as property management is concerned, because there are a lot of, not to say grey areas in this one. It's not really spelled out. So E for the property management, right? So that is for the practical tasks. You need to have it. You need to take note on the incorporate advice and recommendation. Dia ada untuk part A, soalan A and B. Don't miss that part on incorporating the advice and recommendation, whether to sell or to maintain. To maintain means you continue with the allowance of mortgage from the bank. Right, so we have come to the end of professional interviews. We have the valuation, property law, property taxation, property management, development and investment. Ada 3 area dekat situ. And we have estate agency. Each area will carry about 30 minutes excluding the 2 practical tasks. So if you come in for the 2 years, you have 30 minutes for each area, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So if you begin at 9, you stop at 12, that is very lucky. Because in most cases, the first attempt, you will not go unless you memang teruk within 3 hours. So in most cases, be prepared to have a mentally discussion for 4 hours. So don't miss your breakfast once you want to do your professional interviews. I have gone through a few on the valuation tadi. Property law pun saya dah go to juga sikit-sikit hari tu. And property management, development, investment, ada 3 area dekat situ. And we have estate agency as well. Ada soalan? Any question? I akan minta, saya akan bagi pada Dr. Zaf to have this inspection. Ada soalan?
Doctor.
Yes, Minyao.
Can you share this slide with us?
Yes. Ini kan ada record ni. Dr. Zaf akan upload nanti.
The slide.
Slide pun akan bagi dalam spectrum lah. Of course I will.
Okay.
Walaupun saya I'm doing this for FOC tak bayar ya. Dr. Zah cakap dia belajar saya makan saja. Makan apa tak tahulah. Okay, I will amend this one first. Okay.
Just now you got mentioned about 30% of the GDV. That one is solely for marketing, is it?
No, that 30% is the developer's profit. Marketing is 3%.
Oh, okay, noted.
Marketing 3% is our estate agency fee. 30% is for the developer's profit, which is you cannot adopt 30% in the current situation. It's about 15% saja. You allow 15 or you allow 20 boleh lah accept, but not more than 20 because developers are not doing much now. You can't even sell the property. Betul kan Chua? Susah lah, hard time sikit sekarang. Ada soalan? Okay. Yes.
Prof, can you hear me?
Yes.
Lekuan.
Lekuan.
Semasa kita kira itu residu kan macam Toto yang cakap tadi, kita kena termasukkan itu development profit yang 15% according to now situation lah. So now if this one also ask about the property development punya assignment calculation there. So right now if we doing the discounted cash flow punya calculation for the feasibility study, shall we also include the development profit during the cash flow?
No. Residual method is to determine the market value of a subject property. Feasibility is to look at the viability of the project, whether you can take off or not. There is a difference there. Because dalam cash flow for feasibility study, there is no allowance for developers' profit and loss. Developers' profit, itulah dia punya different dia. The component of the residual method is to determine the market value. It's different from feasibility. Feasibility is to determine whether the project can bring you the good IRR, NPV, whether the project you can take off or not. It's different.
And then
unless you do a cash flow untuk dalam residual method to determine the market value, dia ada 2 perbezaan dekat situ. When you adopt residual method, it is meant for you to determine the market value. So dalam kat situ you boleh incorporate your cash flow dalam residual method. But if you do just a cash flow sahaja to determine the IRR, NPV, whether the project is viable or not, that one is not to allow the components of the developer's profit and loss, because the developer's profit and loss component is meant for residual method only. Boleh?
Okay, understood. And then another question is that, like, in reality, what is the IRR for those developers? Will it be like 50%?
50?
Yeah.
Mana ada 50? Ada komponen you salah buat tu.
Tanya je.
Tak betul. Tak ada.
Normally
Normal 20 tu dah bagus dah tu. 25 tu dah bagus dah tu.
Okay.
Sebab you akan tengok the IRR when the NPV is 0.
Okay, faham.
Okay, kalau 50 tu dah salah kira lah tu. Okay, lagi. Because you're doing property development now kan?
Yes, we are
Property
submitting
development,
this.
your calculation is the same as what you do your TPC sebenarnya, sama. But take out the word, incorporate the TPC, dia akan ada, ke dalam TPC pun, you akan ada to incorporate the property advice and recommendation tadi kan. So you still need to do your viability feasibility study, you do the cash flow. So you buat dua lah, satu untuk residual method to determine the market value, and then you proceed, you take out that one, you reorganize balik the contents of your calculation cash flow tadi, so that now you can use it to determine the IRR and NPV, and you can use that to substantiate your advice and recommendation. Because you need to do that. Boleh?
Boleh. Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Any other question? Dah pukul 12. Wah, ada cakap 2 jam solid tak berhenti ni. Okay, Kayun.
Tadi kami bincang tentang the category of land use ada 3 kan?
Yes.
What is the best way when we see the title is category of land use of tiada?
Tiada. Tengok pada express condition. Tengok kepada quick rent. Quick rent dia apa? Kalau express condition tak tulis apa-apa, nil. Then you look at quick rent. We have gone through this like Kayun. I check it you kan.
Because we check online, they said they got other ways.
Apa dia?
Like when we see the title of data, we should change to the land use.
You should change to the land use.
To other category like.
What are the other category? There's only 3 categories.
Yeah. Change the category of land use of data to like building, agriculture. That I see online there's some reference.
Oh, okay. In the new, in the new one, some state government they just leave it blank. They can't really delete which one. Their category of land use they just put tiada because of the location of the property. But you look at the quick rent, how much do they pay? The quick rent is based on commercial ke, based on residential ke, based on agriculture or based on industry. So that will automatically give some signal on what is the category of land use. So bila you nak buat change of category of land use nanti, kalau your quick rent is already paid based on residential, then your further premium will take note on that because you are actually given residential land, but the category of land use is specified as nil. Do you get me, Kayun?
Okay.
Okay, you still have to go back to the quick rent. Kalau in the express condition does not specify what are the specific use of that particular property. Go back to the quick rent. Quick rent will tell you whether that property is actually agriculture or building or industry. And if building, it can also be based on residential or commercial. Dua saja. Because dia ada calculation on that. Each state land rules, each state dia ada specific calculation on how to determine the quick rent. The quick rent ada basis dia. Dia tak ada yang kosong saja, tak ada. So ada agriculture or commercial or building ataupun untuk residential or industry. Boleh?
Boleh, thank you.
Okay.
Right.
So, yes, last question. Yes.
Okay, last question. Macam tadi kita ada cakap pasal tentang itu premium for the land conversion, land use kan. So
Yes.
in some cases dia land use pun akan tertinggal sebagai itu building, tapi dia express condition akan tukar sekiranya kita nak buat itu development. Macam ni kita kena bayar premium juga.
Bayar.
For the express condition on this.
Yes, change of express condition daripada residential to commercial, you have to bayar. Dia ada, sebab tu dia panggil additional premium. Bayar. Sebab nanti your quick rent also tukar. Your quick rent will no longer be based on the residential, it will not be based on the commercial. Bayar juga kepada state government in addition to bayar development charge to the local authority. Dua payment. And
using the same rate for the land conversion premium, right? Or
land
different
conversion
one?
Sama, land conversion premium. Dia ada calculation, you have to go back to the state land rule. Dia ada calculation dia.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Dia dalam calculation land conversion premium, dia ada premium land conversion premium tu dia ada specific on residential to commercial. Ada calculation dia, not just agriculture to building. Dia ada from residential to commercial, residential to industry pun ada.
Masuk dia kita kena bayar 2 kali sekiranya itu title sekarang adalah bawah agriculture. So dia tukar kepada building kena bayar 1 kali express condition dari
tak. Satu kali saja. Kalau agriculture to building, which means either to residential or commercial or mix, bayar 1 kali saja for the premium. Kalau dalam kat situ building, but express condition is residential, now you want to change the express condition. You don't want to change the category of land use. You want to change the statement in the express condition from residential to commercial. Then you have to pay.
Okay. Thank you, Prof.
Right. I think we have come to the end of the session. Besok tutorial, I think with Dr. Zaf kot. Dr. Zaf, are you here?
Yeah.
Oh, dengan you kan tutorial?
Yes.
Okay. So I think I will amend a bit on my slides and send to you my slide to Dr. Zaf, and Dr. Zaf will post to the spectrum. Saya boleh post spectrum. Dr. Zaf buat yang itu. So I see you next week. Next week ke cuti yang Monday ke Zaf?
Oh belum, itu week 13.
Oh, week 13.
Next week Monday, yeah.
Next week Monday, I will see you for the TPC for the estate agent, ya. Itu Chua mesti datang dengan Swijong kan, Cisampong kan. Mana yang kita punya the rent kita yang making money ni. Okay, so thank you so much. I will see you next week Monday. Bye.
Thank you, Prof. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Bye.